Today we're in Branch, just down the road from where I grew up in St. Broads. Each community around the Cape Shore is rich in music, but Branch holds a special place in Newfoundland and Labrador's musical story. My name is Mark Manning, and I play with the band Rum Ragged. For over a decade now, we have been collecting songs and tunes from around Newfoundland and Labrador that have been passed from person to person for generations. Now we're visiting some of the communities where we learned the music and some of the singers and players who help keep it alive. There's so much more to hear. My name is Mark Manning. I come from St. Broads on the Cape Shore, and we're in Branch, just a short while away from my home. In St. Broads, we didn't really have a whole lot of things to entertain ourselves other than sports and each other. And learning music, stories, history from people who came before us. That's kind of what helped us pass our time.
My name is Bruce English, and I'm a resident of Branch, St. Mary's Bay. Well, it's the most scenic community on the Cape Shore. I'm a little biased on that one, but from here, but look around, it is, right? Yeah. We got the river running through it, we got the beautiful ocean, nice beach. I remember swimming on the beach when I was young. You'd going home and your lips would be blue. You're in the early stages of hypothermia, you never do. No, Branch is an awesome place here. Good sense of community, but you all get together. There's 2 or 3 people around, they'll be together, yeah. Right? Or if there's 30, we'll all be in the one place. Awesome. I
was more interested in the history side of stuff first. It was storytelling, and history was a big part of my growing up with. I had an uncle, Larry Dowie, who kind of instilled the idea of where you come from. You gotta know where you're going. When I was growing up and was into all kinds of different music, the idea of going back, digging into the things that you were surrounded by, and just kind of it permeated, it found its way into you, even if you didn't realize it and know it. And I mean, still there's songs that I'll hear that I don't know why I know all the words of them, or don't know why I know the melody of them, but I guess I heard them a bunch growing up. If it was at a kitchen party or on a tape, it was always important in the area. I would say any young person here had the opportunity to be surrounded by it, whether they liked it or not when they were growing up. I didn't understand that what we had here in traditional music was unique from other places around the island, and in folk music in general around the world. We had a teacher come to my school when I was in grade 10 who kind of got us all into the idea of playing and singing, and we had an accordion group start from there, and he kind of got us to go back over our history and what we grew up with on the Cape Shore. And doing that, I went back into those things that I was surrounded by growing up, that I didn't see how and why it was unique and different and important. And the more I delved back into it, I was able to pair that passion for history. It made me delve into the music and the storytelling of that. I told the story of the place. Irish, English kind of background in the area, mostly Irish, so you'd find some of those kind of songs, but there was definitely a storytelling vibe that maybe used the melodies of some old folk music, but told stories about here. My great uncle Jim Dowie used to sing the song Save Your Money. It was the song I remember listening to growing up, and when we were making that first album, I remember sending it over to Aaron and being like, is this kind of right for what we're doing? And Aaron was all for it and convinced me that it was something that we should put on an album. It's one of our most listened to songs now, and it's definitely a piece that reminds me of home, obviously, for it came from here to me, came from family.
Court and marry some pretty girl that you'll find fair and true. Be well aware that she'll play fair and never let her go. Stick to her when you are young, you'll need her when you're old.
Now we'll speak to Dennis Nash, a true gentleman with a deep love for his community and its music. He's a fine singer and player himself, and someone who's helped keep the tradition strong just by living it every day.
I'm Dennis Nash from Branch. I'll be 96 years old in 2 weeks from now, 29th of this month.
There you go.
God
Thanks for sitting down for a talk.
You're more than welcome, Mark.
Where would you get together now, I suppose, in kitchens and sheds?
Oh, yeah, no sheds. There was no sheds in it then.
No.
You'd be in the kitchen and used to have a lot of organs then.
Organs, yes, but.
Organs.
And there'd be accordions around then too?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Mary Ellen Rhodes and Roselle O'Rourke and a few of them played accordion. Not much men played accordions way back, you know.
Yes, but.
No. There used to be flutes. Frankie Nash used to play the flute. And they used to have a band here on Branch. And they had 10 or 12 of them had a flute each.
When do you think that was? What would be the years of that?
I don't know. I suppose back in the 40s, I'd say now. Like anybody come, like a government fella come out and they'd open up the hall, so they'd open it all up and march up and down with the bands and the flutes going. It was really nice.
Over the years in Brent you see music and people coming and going with songs, but you always wrote them down.
There's a lot of songs in the wrote down, Mark.
I bet you.
Yes, there's a dozen in there.
Yeah. Why did you write them down? What made you write them down?
Well, I knew about them. I used to hear people singing them.
You were saying about the song The Flying Cloud.
Yeah, that's it. There, mate, Mark.
And you said you heard that from a fella in Colnet Island?
Colnet Island, yeah. So do they.
That's not a short song, is it?
No, it takes 10 minutes to sing it.
10 minutes.
10 minutes to sing it.
The other one I meant to ask you about was Pinto's Bride.
Oh yes, that's the little one I used to sing a
I've
lot.
heard you sing that a few times.
He wants to sing
Would
it.
you mind if you sang it?
No, it's right. As I was riding one bright evening neath the starlight western sky, the silvery moon down on the saints did shine. As I spurred my pony onward, my guitar softly played a tune of some wild coyote's cry. Just then my pony halted, his ears up straight to go. He trembled as I stepped down by his side. With a glance I saw a shadow on the prairie there did lie, a little curly-headed, blue-eyed boy.
Eugene Mooney from Branch, St. Mary's Bay. My dad always sang, he was a fine singer, right? And most of the songs I got from him, my father, when he'd be sitting down in the night time on the old line down on the old Chesterfield. There was no lights then. I was 14 before we got the lights here in Branch.
Yeah.
That time you didn't have a lot to do and there was only a tilly lamp or a small lamp. But he'd be sitting down on the line back on the Chesterfield singing. And that's where I used to pick up the songs. The songs that got belonged to him, that's where I learned from him. That's where I got interested in the songs and it. And over to the house there was always a crowd. Everybody came over to my father's and mother's place. But that's where I got interested in music.
That's what
Crowd
started
all coming and singing and playing there to the house, right?
That's what started you into it.
That's what started me, got me into the music.
Then you were mentioning then that you had a tape recorder.
Yes, my brother-in-law married his sister. They were living in Stephenville for a while, and that's where he brought her from. I think when he came to Stephenville, came home, he brought the tape recorder so big home, right?
Yeah.
There used to two tapes now, you tape from one to the other tape, right? And I used to chase my father around. Because my father used to sing, see, like Rita said it like me here, right? Every time there was a party, they'd be calling for my father to go to it, right?
Looks real.
Because he'd sing, I don't know how many songs he'd sing from. They all used to call him to come to the parties. When he'd go, I'd go behind him with the tape recorder, and I'd tape all the old songs, old fellas singing songs. Like just about everybody here used to sing, right?
Yeah, everyone have a different kind of song. And I
Yeah,
suppose-
that's right.
Like I was talking to Dennis Nash earlier today, but Dennis writes down a lot of the songs and he always wrote them down, but you never...
No, I never wrote a song. Never had a song wrote down, right?
Alan
The way I can't do it anymore, but when I was younger, if you were here Saturday night and you sang a song and then I went somewhere else in a week's time, you sang it again, then I heard it 2 or 3 times, then I knew it, right?
You had it in the head.
Kind of a thing. If I heard it 3 or 4 times, then I knew the song. But I'd go to work And I'd be singing all the next day. I'd be singing that song at work. Right? I'd be thinking of the different verses where they went, and I'd be singing it and I'd working. Right?
And the songs you got like from around here, now like you said, they come from your father, Gerald Campbell, or John Joe English, or
Yes,
Johnny
yeah.
Hainsey.
Leo Nash. But they all used to sing and recite. They used, 4 or 5 of them used to recite the recitations. Right?
Recitations too, yeah.
But now I never picked up on the recitations, bits and pieces, but the songs. If I liked the song, I got it, right? If I heard it and liked it, then I got it.
Would you say a lot of the songs would be Irish?
Irish songs and war songs, right?
War songs.
But all the young men that went to war out of here, right? But a lot of the songs that like the fellas were in the lumber woods working up on the track and all this stuff, and they brought home the songs and them. And plus, there was a couple of girls here, Englishes, right? And they used to be down at work down the States a lot, and they used to bring home a lot of songs from the States and that, right?
Oh, okay.
Down the Boston States, they used to call it then, right?
Yeah.
And they'd bring a lot of songs home from here, because I used to hear my father tell me, now this is the one that Bride brought out of the States, right? And then fellas working up around Deer Lake and all those places when they be building roads up there.
Yeah.
All the fellas up there from around here too, they brought back a lot of songs they heard up in the lumber woods and that, right?
Did you ever think when you were going around with the tape recorder and young, chasing your father to parties and that there'd be people now, you know, 2024 interested in
No,
that
never
music?
think of that. That music now is really, this old stuff is real. And like all of my crowd, the boys and girls, they all loves it, all that old music. I got 6 of them, and 6 of them loves it, right?
Yeah.
They all likes that old music, that old songs, right? They all tells a story to them all, I guess.
It's about the storytelling, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the same thing as telling a story. When you sing the song, it's like a story, yeah?
Irish Colleen's School. Would you sing
Before they used
that?
to do that all the time.
Would you sing that one, the collar off?
I went to a party consisting of 4, and as it was private, we soon closed the door. There was one girl from England, another from Wales, and the one that resided in Scotland fair day.
Lots of songs like that in Branchester. That's the thing too, like all them Irish songs and stuff. Some of them don't exist in Ireland anymore.
You sings a lot of good songs,
Well, man, a lot of
wherever
them-
you pick them up to, right?
And a lot of them will come from you, like Work Boys Work. That's where we get it. And where did you get Work Boys Work?
My father used to sing. The only fella I heard sing that was my father,
The
right?
only place you can find it anywhere in the traditional books. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where he ever got it to, I don't know, because I never did ask him anything about the songs.
So work, boys, work and be contented, as long as there's enough to buy a meal. For a man you can rely, he'll be wealthy by and by, if he only puts his shoulder to the wheel.
When we sang Work Boys Work, the first time we ever sang it outside of home, first time we ever sang Work Boys Work, we were down in Milwaukee at that Irish festival I was telling you about. There was a band from Ireland came up and said, "Where did you hear that to?" And I told them where we heard it, and they said, "That's our football song home. It's the
Yes,
song that the
fine.
football team uses."
Yes, fine.
So, you know, Work Boys Work. Now, your father sang that,
I don't know
so
where
he
he
must
was-
have heard it.
Yeah, well,
He's crowd,
he
or-
certainly heard it somewhere, that's for sure, but I never heard anyone doing it, right? Now, after my father started doing it, then few fellas learned it off and doing it, but no one ever done it, only they had it.
The wheel. Will for anything make you fat? No, there's nothing gained by that. Assist yourself and fortune will help you. Your tears are all in vain if you're defeated. Try.
What started it for you? What's your first memories of hearing recitations and music? And
I grew up in a big family, Mark, and I was lucky that we weren't all into music. We didn't carry that gene, but my father was into like the recitations, and we lived right across the road from a local legend, Mr. John Joe English.
Yeah.
So Mr. John Joe would be in just about every evening. Himself and his wife would be in visiting. They'd have, he'd sit down, he might give a recitation or two.
something for us, I don't know, the only recitation we've ever recorded and actually perform on the stage when we go places is a recitation we got
Yes,
from you,
yeah.
the Ragged Jacket.
Yeah.
And, you know, recitations, every time we do it, we try to explain to people what it is and where it comes from and how it's an important thing here on the Cape Shore. What's your your perspective on the importance of a recitation as opposed to a song. Like, you know, what part of an evening of entertainment did a recitation take?
Well, you're telling a story and you're putting a story to words without the actual, if you're not musically inclined. So many parties and kitchen parties and stuff like that took place here. And if you couldn't sing or dance, well, you wanted to participate, so you learn off a recitation. That's what my father did, and he was pretty good. Now, he could dance. He was a pretty good step dancer. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But he liked to participate too, right? And he didn't sing, so he learned a few recitations. And a lot of the people here they were known for one or the other. Father did Son of Dan McGrew, Dangerous Dan McGrew, and all of us in the house, like, we used to see. We remember a book there from Robert Service, and there was all kinds of really good recitations and stuff in that one about the cremation of Sam McGee and. Yeah, those kind of stuff. So my sisters and brothers all, again, not very musically inclined, but they all kind of had a recitation or two.
I find whenever we do the recitation, it's a big part of the show because people come up to you after. It's not a thing in other...
No, it's not that common.
You know, in other places, and
no.
their folk music and folklore and their like just traditional way of entertainment and how they pass their time.
Yeah.
Recitations
Yeah.
were not something you'd see. Maybe some spoken word pieces, but not with the entertainment value that come with a recitation.
That's right.
Like, you know, there's places like Branch around Newfoundland and Labrador, but the feel of community when you get to Branch, you feel it because of the music, and you feel it because of the entertainers and the people who love to get together.
And the entertainment transcends generations. You could be here with, like, Mr. Dennis will be there, and his son Dennis will be there, and you have the boys, the English boys, and their son, father Wilfred, and you know, they'll all be there, and they all grasp to the entertainment, music and song. Yeah,
and over the years, it has been handed down here, but you know, in other places, they talk about how it's an old thing, how it's something that's gone. And in Branch, it don't really feel like it's gone. I mean, definitely there was more of it when there was more people here.
Yeah.
But these days, it's definitely like, do you feel like it's still a very living thing in Branch?
Yes, yeah.
The people who had told us when we started the band, like, all the traditional music had been found. Like, what are you doing? Kind of thing, you know. And I think still to this day that we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on different places in different parts of Newfoundland and Labrador. Even still in this place where I feel like I've done a lot of different research in music and recitations, spoken word pieces, poems, there's still stuff that I've yet to find myself.
Some people likes to work all day until the night repose. I goes for a promenade to show my pretty clothes. I am a very swell young gent, the girls think I'm okay. Such a dandy dashing dude you don't see every day.